Hi, I'm Mickey Coffino, and I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm a serial entrepreneur with a multitude of businesses in all types of dynamics. One of the great pieces I think about my life and my journey when people ask me, where did you grow up? Where did you go to school? I was really lucky. My father had a company that he worked for. It was somewhat like in the retail industry, and he traveled all over. So my parents, being born in Michigan, moved when I was 9 months old to Arizona. I lived all throughout Arizona up until I was 14, and we moved to California. From California, I lived there for 4 years and moved to Michigan to graduate high school. I really pivoted that time living in the West and then moving to the East. It gave me a different dynamics because I got to walk in all kinds of socioeconomics, all kinds of educational backgrounds, and people from all over the world. It really gave me an opportunity to have a lens in my business to be able to see everybody has a way that they look at their journey, their business, and their life. I know a lot of people when they have family and the dynamics of their family, they grew up either in a single family household or their parents were loving. I think for me, since my parents divorced and I grew up pretty affluent, and when they divorced at 12 years old, I got thrown into an economic windfall. I was like this girl who had everything to somebody who was looking how they were going to find their next meal. It really drove me to see that I was gonna have to work really hard to be able to make myself pay my bills, get by, buy school clothes, even feed myself because my mother was a single mother raising 2 kids. So here I was at 13, I looked very mature. I took a job, worked full-time after school, and then worked another job on the weekends because it was important to me to be able to have my own money and to be independent and pay my own bills. And it really gave me the opportunity to see working for someone was never going to be fulfilling. I was going to have to be an entrepreneur because for me, I wanted it all. And I was very driven, even at 13 years old, babysitting, cutting grass, cleaning cars, cleaning houses, anything I could do to make money. And it drove me to the next level to see the more you worked, the more you put into something, the harder the journey was, the more successful the outcomes could be. I really took this opportunity, and I've shared this with so many young men and women. The opportunities that were given to me by my parents divorcing and my father not being around, my mother trying to feed 2 children with no child support, really gave me the opportunity to see everything you accomplish in your journey comes from you. So I never was resentful that I had to work all the time. My first job babysitting, my next job cleaning houses, detailing cars, taking dogs for walks, anything I could do to earn money. I really took that money and looked at ways that I could get that money to work to make more money. And I really encourage children, if you have an opportunity to take a job, go for it. It gives you an opportunity to be responsible. And guess what? It drives you to be even more independent. And I didn't have to rely on anybody else. And that was important to somebody like me because I didn't have a father. And my mother really was struggling to feed 2 kids. It's a real sad state right now in our school systems. When I went to school, I was given the opportunity, and I wouldn't change a thing, to be able to be a hairstylist. I knew that's my dream. I knew that's what I wanted to do, and I was so passionate for it. The friends that I had that either wanted to be a welder or a woods craftsman or a contractor, they wanted to build things. They all had those vocational opportunities when I went to school. They're limited now, but it gave me the opportunity at 16 to be able to start doing hair. By the time I graduated high school, I was a licensed cosmetologist. I was very versed in aesthetics, nails, and it gave me an opportunity to cultivate a brand new career. I graduated high school with a full-time job, cutting hair and having my own opportunities. So my first job, I graduated from school. I was super excited. It was 1984. I really was super excited. I was 17 years old. I got my first job cutting hair. And the man I went to work with was a real enlightening and awakening to what it was to be not only a woman in the stylist chair, but also someone who didn't understand what it was to respect people who really had the hustle to make money and had the drive to do more business, make more money for them. So at 17, here I am, my very first job. I was so excited. I built my business in 3 months. I was fully booked. I took this man's business and not only grew it, I encouraged other stylists. I motivated other employees. My retail sales were the highest it had ever been as long as his business had been open. So my first sit down with him to ask for more money, to be shot down and said, "Be fortunate you have a job," at 18 years old was the true enlightenment of what it was that I'm going to have my own business to get my own recognition, to be able to make the money that I felt I was worth. And you have to believe in yourself and know what anybody tells you. If you know you can do it, believe in it and run with it. So, since I didn't get what I wanted from this very first job that I was super excited with, doing all of these customers a day, building this man's business, I decided to take a leap of faith. I rented my own space. This was the pivoting piece of transformation of what it is to be an entrepreneur. I rented a space, which meant I was responsible to pay rent to somebody. Everything I made came from what I built. So I took it upon myself to work with my customers, ask them to refer me new clients. I went from making $600 a week to $3,000 a week in 1985. I literally worked from 8 in the morning till 8 at night. Saturdays, if I could, I'd go in on Sundays to build my business. I went to work for one of the largest manufacturers that supplied products for our salon as education to grow my wealth of knowledge. I want to be the best that I could be in my business. And that's what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. Know it inside out, learn from everyone, because the best you can be is what you're going to put into your business to be a multimillionaire. As I grew my craft and I got more successful, the wait times to get into me went from a week to 2 months. I really knew this was going to be something that I could expand upon. I could have my own salon. I had many people working for me, and the mistakes I saw from other salon owners, I encompassed and learned from. So I didn't make the same mistakes. I encouraged my team. I encouraged my staff to make more money, to build their businesses as I grew my own salon industry. I had 19 people at one time working for me, and I really was on top of the world. With that came a single mom of triplets. That pivoted what it meant to have cash flow, what it meant to have multiple sources of income. Here I was, a single mom with triplets. I got the flu. If you're not working, you're not making money. That's the only thing that's a downfall as a stylist. Even though I had people working for me, I needed extra cash flow to support 3 children. So that rude awakening of getting the flu gave me an opportunity to say, I've got to have money work for me when I'm not working. I've got to have other cash flows to get that business in a different realm. It gave me the opportunity to see what ways could I earn money when I wasn't working, which came to the next business that I got into, which was the scrap metal business. That changed the whole dynamics of being a serial entrepreneur. So I wrote a book about it because it was such a transformation from Stilettos to steel toes, stepping into a man's world, because that became another element of what it was to be a woman in a male dominated business. The great part about being a hairstylist is you have all kinds of socioeconomics, entrepreneurs, people who work for companies, CEOs, to busy mommies. I got fortunate enough to have a customer tell me about their business, and I gravitated towards this recycling business. They had really reached a point of retirement, and it gave me an opportunity to really expand my thoughts, to be a massive entrepreneur in a very male dominated business. 1% of women step into steel toed boots and run a huge multi-million dollar scrap business. I wrote a 3-year trajectory. I wrote a business plan. I submitted to the SBA. I took all the money, everything I had, and placed that bet on this business and what I felt I could do to the community and transform what it was to be in the recycling business. It was important to me. It was important to me to let my children know that you have the opportunity to change environments, people, and the lives of everyone around you with energy, because that's what recycling is it creates energy, environmental to keep things clean, and two, to really push the limits to be an entrepreneur. When I got into this recycling business, I had had no experience, but I knew what it was to take care of people and to take care of a business, and most importantly, how to run a business. As I proceeded forward in this business, I started it, I got into heavy equipment. I did as much as I could to research being in the recycling business. I took a company that was losing money, that was on the brink of bankruptcy, to a $15 million company in 1 year. I changed the whole business model. I started a 501(c)(3) second chance program that I was so passionate about, having men and women come out of incarceration, have an opportunity to do a skill set, a trade, and an employment opportunity in my local community. I won the National Small Business Person for Wells Fargo, the National Small Business Person for the SBA, 50 Most Influential Women, 25 Most Influential Women, as well as a multitude of awards from Mecklenburg County and the state of North Carolina, all attributed to making a difference in a small business owner, a woman-owned business, and most importantly, previously incarcerated. The most important part and exciting part to me is I've had a lot of schools come in, people come in and tour my facility, and they're like, I don't understand what recycling is. And the great part is it gives me an opportunity to educate people in something that I really had no education about. We process metal of steel, light, heavy. Heavy is a very heavy grade steel. It weighs a lot. Ferrous and non-ferrous material. Number one, copper. Number two, aluminum, stainless, brass. All of the things that people throw away that have an opportunity to be processed to keep our landfills clean is what we do. We work with HVAC people, we work with plumbers, we work with just people who drive around and pick up refrigerators, washers and dryers, electrical cords, whether it's cable, wire, all of it can be processed, kept out of our landfills, and you get paid for it. So it actually gave young men and women an opportunity when they would come through my facility, a way to maybe have an opportunity to be another way in entrepreneurship. One kid went around and picked up aluminum cans and brought them to the yard and got paid for them. So there's ways of making money as a side hustle in recycling. It creates energy, it keeps our landfills clean, and on top of it, it gave me an opportunity to give employment opportunities for men and women that a lot of people would not hire. That was the moving piece. I'll never forget this. I had a man come in. He said, "Will you hire me?" And I said, "Well, of course I would. What are your skill sets?" He says, "I don't have any. I served 25 years in the North Carolina State Penitentiary." I was like, "Oh my Lord. No skill sets, minimalistic education, and but he was hungry. And I said, show up tomorrow morning and I'll give you a job. The look on his face changed my whole position of what it is to make a difference.